Sorry. Tyler,
Good job.
we're live. We're live, and we're just like kind of throwing together this podcast. We just got done running, so it was kind of a rush to get down here before the countdown. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Can you move that mic closer? We were just talking about not having to sit close to the mic.
Yeah, it's definitely a different feeling talking on a mic.
No, yeah, it's weird. It's weird to like capture your voice, and you're like, "What is this? This is what I sound like."
Yeah.
But
And it just kind of throws you off. There's a little bit of a lag when you're talking, and you kind of hear it,
yeah,
and it just throws you off when you're talking.
yeah. It's even weirder when you go back and listen. You're like, oh my gosh, I hate hearing myself listen. Like I do a podcast and just hearing my voice, I'm like, I don't like the way I sound.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah, no, I hated it. I hated it so much. And even worse is when you videotape yourself doing something. You're like, I am so fucking awkward. I'm the most awkward person I've ever seen. Like last time I was doing this video and whatnot, and I was rewatching myself, and I was like, I look like a fucking psychopath a little bit because my eyes were all big, and I was trying to, I don't know, trying to open my eyes, make them smile or something, and I just looked like a psychopath. Like, okay, let's not do that again.
One of the funniest things is when I have somebody on the podcast and they're like, "Where's the camera at?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's over here." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then they turn and look at the camera. I'm like, "You don't have to do that. You can just look at
hello,
me."
fans. Stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just like to have them there. I don't even focus on them. I just like to have them there to just capture the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, this morning was fun.
Oh, it was a good one. It was a 6 mile run, I guess, for all the viewers that didn't exactly join us on the run.
You gave me a good idea about possibly running with the people that I have on the podcast, or like or given that opportunity. So possibly having like some sort of experience that somebody could sign up for.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. So like I was thinking while I was in the shower before this podcast was maybe I should, because I'm building that cold plunge, maybe I should offer some sort of experience where somebody could, when they do the podcast, we go for a run and then we do a cold plunge and then we do the podcast.
Now it reminds me of that there's that guy, Jordan, he's in Detroit or something. He does like daily cold plunges and has like some motivational quote afterwards. He's on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, I actually watch him because I guess it's the consistency that I always like to watch, is someone that's willing to be consistent every single day. Yeah, it's like he was doing it, and the cold plunge is always like 1 degree.
Oh my god!
And he does it for like 3 to 8 minutes or whatever.
Holy cow!
And
he does it in a cold plunge or
outside.
Outside.
Yeah, so it's like he has to actually like break open the ice and whatnot, and then he gets in, and he doesn't show the entire clip because that'd be boring. But he like, yeah, you'll see the timer, and it's like, yeah, and he has little motivational quotes, so he'll just have like an entire spiel or whatever while he's in the cold plunge.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's something you kind of have to do when you're in the cold plunge, is talk.
Yeah.
At least for me, because it's like, have you ever done a cold plunge?
No, I always just do cold showers every day.
Okay. I mean, even those are brutal. How do you manage to get through them? Do you focus on breathing?
You have to focus on breathing. You just jump in. You got to just keep on getting the cold parts on every part of the body, and just,
you just move around, or do you time?
No,
do you time?
No, I don't time. I move around until it feels warm. Until
you like it.
until I'm comfortable, which is weird. I know, like cold water. It's like, how are you ever comfortable? You can get kind of comfortable. I mean, you can get used to anything.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, we go for runs. You get used to that after the first mile.
Right.
You're like, okay, and then we can just keep going.
Yeah, that was something I was struggling with the first mile. I was like, man, we're talking and this is hard. But then as time went on, I didn't shut up.
And you're like, oh, this is fun now. This is cool. I know. I used to never be able to talk while running. This was actually probably the first time that I just felt comfortable talking the entire time while running. No, because last year I was traveling for work. The year before that, I was in school for 4 years. Consistency was just not there until this year.
Wow. And so, how often are you running?
Oh, I run 4 times a week, usually 2 miles during the week, because just not enough time to do like an 8-mile run during the week. But then on the weekend, I'll devote an entire day to doing like an 8 to 10 mile run. or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's only at like 11, 12-minute pace.
Okay.
It's not like a high pace, but I've learned, or at least I've heard, that the speed comes in once you get the miles high enough.
Okay.
I don't know. I've just heard that. I forget who I heard that from.
I think you have to do speed training too.
Yeah, and I think that's where also leg workouts come in.
Yeah.
Getting that what is it? That force, that
It's like
spot,
it's like an endurance base. Like
that
you're
explosive pushes.
right. Yeah.
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 Lots of squat training, lots of leg presses, leg extensions and whatnot. But yeah, also,
Deadlifts.
no, I can usually, if I wanted to sprint, I think I could time myself at 6-minute miles if I really wanted to take off.
That's a brutal run. 6-minute miles.
Oh, I only did it for a mile. Just to see what my top consistent mile speed could be.
Okay. I used to, on breaks, we'd get 20-minute breaks when I was training for my ultra marathon, and I would go up to our gym, and by the time I got to the gym, I would only have like 15 minutes to run. So I would just get on the treadmill and put it on a high incline, full speed. Well, not full speed, but like 7 to 8 miles per hour, and I would just sprint.
Oh, that's brutal.
And for a full mile, and it would take me like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It was brutal, but I would come back to work all sweaty.
I'd be like, what have you been doing? Oh, I was just being chased by a serial killer. Don't worry about that. Let's get back to work.
Hey, that's sometimes the best way to get through a run.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you accomplish it.
Oh, I remember when we were, I kept posting on your channel for like a solid month or two. I don't know, but I was posting Zombies Run or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Where you can actually hear zombies in the background, like really chasing after you. It sounds like a serial killer kind of coming after you, and you're like,
right.
It gives you that little sense of adrenaline.
That was a fun thing you were doing, because it was like each run was titled something different,
Yeah.
and then you were being chased.
Yeah.
So would it give you like, was it like different goals? Like how would that work?
Well, so it's a story mode kind of running application. It used to be like $7 a month. Now it's like 80.
Oh wow.
But I still find it very useful. I mean, you have the story mode. So what's one example? You have to go save some children from a burning building or something, and then you have a person on your headset saying, "Okay, turn right, turn left." You're not. Hope to God nobody actually turns when they're told to, but into the street. But no, you kind of go through the story. You hear things going on. You don't actually talk to anybody, but people are telling you stuff and whatnot, and you hear conversations, and you kind of feel like you're involved. But it just kind of distracts you from the run, which I know for some people that elite runners are like, that's bullshit. You can't be distracted. The run is, they're like purist or whatever with running.
Right.
Can't have headphones in, can't have this in, which is great. I think at some point you need to have that kind of mental fortitude when you're on those 26, 50-mile runs.
Yeah.
To be able to do it without anything, because your headphones will die.
Yeah, absolutely. See, when I run long runs like that, when I did my marathon, I had my headphones, but I didn't use them. I was playing music, but I couldn't focus. I couldn't focus on the music. It wasn't something that was going to help me get through it. And I realized that like pretty quickly. So I just turned it off. And then I just focused on my breathing and my pace and everything else. Yeah.
I think after 5 miles, you kind of you stop listening to the music. You just kind of focused on
just getting
the next the next half mile, the next quarter mile, the next turn or whatever. You're just focused on that.
Right. Yeah, it takes a different kind of mindset. But I mean, I guess it also depends on like what you want to accomplish. Like if you're just running just to run, or just for the joy of running, or just getting some exercise, there's nothing wrong with listening to music or a podcast or whatever.
No, I mean, I eventually will do half marathon, full marathon, half mile. Well, shoot, did we do that today?
Oh, half marathon?
No, half mile. I was like, did we do that? No, but I think I will eventually do that. It just, my knee just keeps going out, and I have to keep not stopping, but slowing down and whatnot. And I'm trying to build it up. Yeah, even today at 6 miles, my knee was kind of tweaking on one side, and it was just making me mad.
Was it a meniscus thing that you injured?
It is a torn meniscus.
Oof.
And I'm just slowly trying to run, but not break it again.
Right.
Not tear it again.
What was that like when you did that? Because you were running pretty consistently, and then it just stopped?
I think I joined like a trail running group, and they run a little faster than me.
Okay.
And we were running like up a mountain. And I think that's what did it. I was just not used to that. I did a long run that day and it just tweaked. I got in and I just had to walk back.
Wow.
I got halfway through and I was just like, oh my God, this hurts.
Wow.
Because I just pushed it for a mile, then my knee would hurt and I would have to slow back down. And I pushed it for a mile, then I would have to walk. And it was just a bad day.
And then after that, you just had to rehab it, right?
Yeah, I rehabbed it, did lots of strength training, lots of squats, lots of leg extension. I think the biggest thing though that I did was doing lots of stairs. So at work, I work on the 9th floor. Instead of taking the elevator, I take the stairs up. Stuff like that. Just things that really activate the knee, help the stabilizing muscles.
Yeah.
Another one was like one-legged squats, not Bulgarian squats.
Like a pistol squat?
Yeah, pistol squats. Because that really helps the stabilizing of the knee while you're
Right.
dropping down with one knee.
Have you ever followed the knees over toes guy?
I don't think I followed him.
You should follow him. He has a workout program specifically for the knees because he was a basketball player that got injured, and he developed this program for people that had knee injuries. And yeah, now he's like this incredible athlete. But
so what kind of things does he usually subscribe?
Like one of the things is what do they call it? It's some sort of like Russian. I can't remember the name of it, but
Romanian deadlift?
no. So like what you do is you have your knees like your. I wish I could just do it and people could see.
You could do it. I don't see why you couldn't.
All right, so I'm gonna do it.
Stand on your chair. No, I'm kidding.
I don't think I could do it on my chair. Let me sit and lay on the table.
Let's see him fall.
So when you're doing it, I know the audience can't really see. Let me move the camera.
Here, you want me to hold it?
No, it's mounted.
Oh, okay.
So when you're down, you're kind of down like this.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll narrow it. So he's on his knees,
and then you come down and you spring up.
So dropping back to about a 30-degree angle between your knees.
That's like one of the things. Another thing is like walking backwards.
Oh yeah, I like that on the treadmill. People think you look so weird. They're like, "What are you doing?" Well, I'm just trying to help your lower back.
Yeah. So walking backwards is another one, and then sled pulls and pushes and
those are really good.
Things like that.
Especially reverse sled pulls.
Yeah. One of the things that I have, and I think that guy promoted it. It's called monkey feet, and it's this thing that you clip a dumbbell on, and it snaps to your foot.
Yeah,
you can do like leg extensions. You can do leg curls. You can work your tib.
I think I saw it on Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Yep.
Once.
Yep. He was promoting it, and I bought it. I actually bought 2 of them, and I'm like, I don't need 2 of them. So I have one, or I have 2.
I saw it, and I was like, I could kind of jerry rig this with bands or something. I'm like,
you could, but that thing is awesome.
But it's for that exercise, and I'm like, it'd be useful.
Yeah, I highly recommend it because what it does is it isolates that one leg, and so it's funny because you could like when I do leg extensions when I'm using both legs, I can do so much weight. Like I'll throw 445 pounds on the leg extension thing, and I could do that no problem. But then when you do just a single leg, like 1 10-pound dumbbell,
especially when it's not stabilized in an actual
and you have to focus on that. You have to focus on that because otherwise you could injure yourself too.
Oh yeah.
So you don't want to go too heavy.
You only could do like what, 30 pounds maybe?
No, that's hard. 30 pounds is hard.
Maybe we'll try this after that.
We'll try it. We'll definitely try.
I'm kind of curious.
I should go get one right now.
Okay.
Want me to go get it?
Sure.
All right, guys, hold on. Sorry, this is an active podcast. I love it. All right, I'll be right back. 30-pound? I'm going to grab a 30.
Okay, we could grab a 30. Yeah, cold showers definitely work. I love a good cold shower.
All right, so. Okay, so
you're curious if I could do it at 30?
I know you're not going to be able to do it at 30.
Let's try.
So the audience can see.
Okay. All right.
So
See if I can. Shoot.
So you clipped it on your foot. Audience is probably like, this is so boring.
They're like, well, no, actually, I find this kind of stuff more interesting when the people are actually doing something. And shoot, I haven't done this before, so it's kind of neat watching somebody else do something that they've never done before. And I should probably. Did we ever do an introduction?
Okay, so for the podcast,
Yeah.
No, we didn't. Somebody said you're good. I forgot to mention. So before you clip that on your foot, you actually have to
mention something.
You have to clip in the weight.
It's gonna break my leg.
No, you're good. You just take it off and you clip in the dumbbell, and then you fully snap it.
I see what you're going after here. So take off the weight, throw it at David.
Someone's on the treadmill. Hell yeah, get after it. That's sweet.
They better be on the treadmill. Cardio's everything. Can't do anything without cardio.
All right. So what you do is it folds open.
I
love how this is like a free advertisement for Monkey Feet.
We'll call them up and say, hey, you owe us some money.
Yeah. So you clip that in.
All right. We're going to do the extremely hard.
So he's doing a 30-pound dumbbell right now.
Because I'm insane and I love to hurt myself. Because that's just, yeah.
Apparently I have a hole in my mouth.
You have a hole in your mouth?
Yeah, I took a sip of my drink and
went everywhere.
All over.
So how tight is it supposed to be?
You don't want it to be incredibly tight, but tight enough to where it's not loose on your foot, like flopping around. So try it.
That's still tight.
Okay.
Oh, I see. You can do that.
Yep. So it reminds me of like an old skate, like a rollerblade.
Yeah.
So it clips in like a rollerblade, which is nice because it's easy to take on and off.
Okay, what am I supposed to do?
So try to do a leg extension.
All right, let me lock the chair in so I can sew like that.
Yep. Feel how hard that is? Perfect.
30 pounds.
Okay, 30 pounds. 30 pounds it is.
Yeah.
I'm just a weak bitch.
Full legs straight.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of screwed up for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because you're in a chair.
I would probably end up doing 25. Just because I like to do 8 to 12 reps.
Okay.
And then maybe once I get up to 14, then I jump up 5 pounds.
Okay.
So maybe a 27-pound weight would probably be perfect.
Yeah, so I highly recommend those things. Just because you can isolate each leg individually and you realize how weak your one leg is compared to to the other one.
Like I'm sure my left leg is probably a little weak because I'm right hand dominant.
Right.
There's always that. Get zoomed in on my ugly mug. My mug shot.
All right. I'm curious to know who's on the treadmill.
Probably David Goggins.
Oh, that would be sweet. But yeah, so I highly recommend those because it helps strengthen each leg individually. And then you can do so many different workouts with it. You can do the leg extension, you could do leg curls, you could do like the side kicks.
I'd be kind of afraid about leg curls laying down in your back and hooking that on.
Isaiah, get after it, Isaiah. Isaiah's a guy I work with.
Ah,
hell yeah.
That's nice. Hopefully it's a 10-mile run.
I don't know. Let us know how far you're running. 10 miles is brutal. There's always like a certain point in a run where it's just hard no matter what. And 10 miles, like I can run a marathon, no problem.
Oh, no problem.
No, I mean,
no problem.
It's difficult, but what I'm saying is that there's a certain level of miles when you hit that threshold, it becomes harder.
Oh, definitely.
And for me, it's usually around mile 10, 11. And I think a lot of it has to do with nutrition and getting your body exactly what it needs in that moment to be able to push your way through the rest.
I mean, heck, you were talking about this when we were going for a run. You put on brand new shoes during before your marathon. I'm like, oh my God. I couldn't imagine the foot pain.
Running 3 miles, walking 1 mile. Hell yeah. Get after it, Isaiah. That's awesome. 3-mile runs are my favorite runs.
Those are just so nice. They're just peaceful.
They're peaceful. And then you know that you're not going to kill yourself doing it.
And it doesn't take a bunch of time. It takes a half hour or maybe a little more.
Right. Yeah.
But they are nice runs. I think the first mile though is always the hardest.
Not to 10 yet. We'll get you there.
You'll get there. I believe in you, Isaiah.
That's awesome. Yeah, the shoe thing was a dumb thing on my behalf because that was my first actual marathon. I ran the ultra marathon and I did the same thing during that time. I bought a brand new pair of shoes for that race and never ran in them.
50 miles.
50 miles. I didn't end up doing the full 50. I did 37 some miles.
That's still amazing.
Yeah, it was something. It was brutal. And that was something too that was very interesting. And I learned a lot because for my training, I trained on like flat surfaces. I trained around here. Well, when I ran that race, it was through trails. It was like a biking trail, and it was on the west side of the state, so it's all hilly and it was like mountainous terrain.
Your knees were just getting wrecked.
My knees were swollen.
Yeah.
My knees were fatter than like my calves.
Yeah.
And then I lost all my toenails
for
that race. And yeah, everything was just.
I think losing toenails is just a guarantee for that.
Stuff.
Just guarantee.
Have you ever lost a toenail running?
No, I haven't lost. Maybe once, but it was because I just bought some new shoes. I was doing like a 5 miler and I was running with somebody and I didn't want to be a little bitch. So you know how that is. You're going to lose some toenails.
It was funny because when I finished that marathon in August, I crossed the finish line and I knew that something was wrong with my toenails because towards the end, I felt one of my toenails shift and it hurt. It was excruciating pain. And I was just like, whatever, just push through. And when I crossed the finish line, my son's like, Dad, or maybe my daughter, she was like, Dad, your feet are all bloody.
Yep. You don't even realize until you're done and you look down and you take off your shoes and you're like, oh, that sucks.
I didn't even want to look at it.
It's like, gonna hurt later.
Yep. It did. I couldn't walk for like the next day or two. I mean, I could walk, but it was painful.
Definitely.
Yeah. Did you want something to drink?
Oh yeah, we could do a 10 o'clock shot.
Yeah, why not?
10:30 shot.
Got some whiskey.
We did a hard part of the day.
All right.
What is this? Screwball?
What?
Oh, I just saw Screwball over there.
Oh yeah, so that's a peanut butter whiskey. Do you want that?
No, you could do that one.
Okay, so this is.
Get out the gun.
Yes, the AR-15 filled with American honey whiskey, wild turkey.
Ooh.
It's sweet. It's really good
stuff.
I love it. All right.
I just saw that. I assume someone gave that to you.
My wife bought it for me for my birthday. That was
nice.
Yeah.
Getting into the whiskeys nowadays.
What's that?
Getting into doing more whiskey nowadays.
Yes.
I know it's such a nice little drink just to have in the middle of the day or at night.
At night, yeah. I don't drink that often. Like the only time I drink is really on the podcast, and I did it like one other time within the last 6 months. So
yeah, I only do. Maybe I'll make myself a whiskey sour on the weekend.
Okay,
that's about it.
What kind of whiskey do you typically drink?
I was just given a bottle like a year ago, and I still haven't gone through it. I don't drink very much.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not much of a drinker.
Well, here, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers for the new year. Ooh, that is nice.
It's so good. It goes down so well.
So
Isaiah's on the treadmill, and we're over here drinking.
It's like apple juice.
Yeah.
It tastes like apple juice, basically.
It's honey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I don't know. The last time I drank a lot, I got really drunk, and I think it was for my birthday.
Yeah.
And we went to Grand Rapids. We went to a piano bar, and it was. Have you ever been to a piano bar?
I think once.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you can very easily get drunk very quickly.
That is nice. Yeah, the last thing I did was surprisingly wine tastings can actually get you pretty drunk.
Yeah.
We went to a so I live in San Antonio for everybody that doesn't know. And yeah, we went down up to Fredericksburg and above San Antonio, and they have like 30 different grape wine farms and whatnot. We went to like 5 of them, and after the second one, we were just sloshed. The second one, actually, one guy just kept. It's wine tasting, so you're supposed to only have like maybe a little bit of wine in there.
Yeah.
he kept pouring us full glasses for wine tastings. So we paid like $25 and we were getting like 10 glasses of wine.
Wow.
And so we were just done.
Did you get like a headache from that?
No. And I have never got hungover.
Really?
No, never.
Let's test that.
Go for it. I do gotta drive, so you're gonna have to send it back with me, and I'll send you a picture of me drinking it.
I'll order you an Uber.
Oh, there we go. That'd be an expensive Uber. I need to go to Lake Odessa after this.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well,
that'd be a long drive.
That would be a long drive.
Could
you imagine sitting in the back of an Uber for that long?
Oh my god. I have done it before.
Yeah.
No, because last year I used to travel all the time. So I'd have to take Ubers all the time, and I'd be in the Uber for like an hour sometimes.
What is your most awkward Uber ride?
Oh, I've actually never. It's funny. Every Uber ride, I can actually start up a conversation, and the person will just talk for like the whole time. Usually,
that would be. I think that would be a cool podcast. Somebody who's an Uber driver, just having random people come in.
What was that game show that used to be in a taxi?
Yeah,
it'd be Deal or No Deal.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of like that, except you're just talking about your own stuff all the time.
Yeah, you would have to meet so many interesting people.
Oh, it was so interesting. And yeah, I actually used to for a minute I actually drove for Uber for fun, just to get a little extra money, and I also had a little bit of fun. I got to learn. I did it in Washington D.C.
And
I met so many interesting people. And
you ever meet any politicians?
No, I never actually met any politicians. It was always or usually businessmen or engineers or something.
Wow. I did Uber once. Yeah, I've met a lot of cool people. One of the people that I met was like a top engineer for General Motors. They were developing with one of the old models in our vehicles that we build, the Traverses. They had these light strips that would go across the dash, and I'm sure they still do in some of the vehicles. And they would go onto the doors and stuff. They developed that.
That's neat.
The guy was like, "Yeah, I'm the one who created that."
Yeah, the actual hardware isn't that bad, but the programming behind it to get it to operate in certain conditions and to always do what you want it to do, that is the bread and butter for them.
Yeah.
The programming.
For Uber? Or
no,
for the lights.
For the lights. No, I'm an engineer, so I always, when I hear these things, when I hear other engineers, I'm like, because I've worked with hardware, I've worked with software, and the software is always the hardest thing. Always. Hardware is like the fun, easy thing.
You would think that software would be getting easier though with AI technology and the way things are going.
You would think so, but
because wouldn't it just kind of learn?
No, a lot of times it gets dumber as it learns. I don't know why. GPT-4, for example. I mean, I've seen all the code that it outputs, and 100% of the time you have to tweak it.
Do you use it at all?
Nah. No. I would if I was in research. If I was in research more. To both, the biggest thing is analysis. So you could tell it, hey, I want it to grab an analysis because it can actually access the internet now. You know how it can go on the internet, it can compile lists of everything.
Yep.
So as a researcher, you could see how that would be. You could quickly write articles on get me all this information on this topic or whatnot, and then you can quickly read through it and even publish it if you wanted to. But as a day-to-day engineer and whatnot, maybe might be useful for gathering information, but you don't need to gather that much.
Yeah.
Because it's a topic. It's like building lights or something.
Right.
You don't. And then for programming, I mean, sure, if you don't know what you're doing, I guess I can give you a rough draft, but you got to be a really good engineer to then actually make it work, to actually be a professional code. Because you can usually tell if it's a professional code or a amateur code. How
would you tell?
Well, you could tell either by how well it blends in with the rest of the code base, how formatted it is. So if it has comments in it, if it is simple. So the funniest thing that when the company I am in right now, I look at a code and it is so simple, but it's so difficult to actually not read it, but to what do I say?
Understand it?
Yeah, I guess understand it. It's so complex because it's so short. Like one line in this company would have been like, I don't know, 20 lines for when I'm writing it myself. When I started.
How do you know what a code is and what it means?
You don't. So I know that. No. All right. No, it doesn't. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. No. The biggest thing when to know how to code means is, yeah, if someone freaking comments on it, like usually puts some type of, so a comment, for anybody who doesn't know, is a line in code that isn't read by the code. It's only for humans. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's it's like a line of text.
Okay.
A line of text.
Right.
So it has some characters before it that tells the code, don't read this. But then it would have some text for the actual reviewer to look at, to actually read, to see what it does.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
really good code bases and whatnot has that line of text before a code that kind of tells the person that's reading it, okay, this is what it does. This code controls this function.
So how do you create a code?
So how do you create a code? Well, I mean, you got to have an idea for what you want it to do. Usually I'll kind of rough draft what I want it to do. And then you got to do lots of research. So you have to see how it fits into the code. So the biggest thing with code is, data. You have to figure out how the user inputs gets into the system. The system does something with the user inputs that you want it to do. Implement a time. I don't know, for an example, make it 10 o'clock or something. So the user says, hey, I want this to be 10 o'clock. The code has to do something to the computer. I'm just going to say a black box. I don't know how everybody does it a little bit differently. And also every language, you got Python, C++ and whatnot. Every language does it differently a little bit. But the general idea is the user tells it what to do. The computer has to store the information, pull it back out, do something with it, and then display it to the user.
Python and C++, those are like AI technologies, right? Or they have AI technologies?
AI technologies are built with them.
Okay.
So the reason I say that is because Python, C++, JavaScript, they're all technologies that were built before AI. But AI itself is just an idea, is a construct or whatever, is a candle.
Right.
Like, sure, there's wax in here. You can use wax for a ton of different things, for building statues and whatnot. But in this case, it's a candle.
Right.
So that's what AI is. It's just code using this code base to build this thing.
And so you said,
and AI is very simple for the most part, unless you get into neural networks,
like Neuralink or something like that.
Neuralink is a technology. So AI is like GPT-4, is an advanced AI, something that will take in information. So I guess what makes a really good AI is it being able to learn. So machine learning. That's where AI really gets fun and dangerous.
Have you personally seen that in any of the work you've done?
Oh yeah, I've used machine learning using Python, technologies like Torch. What is that other thing called? I have a couple of different. It's been a while, but it's a fun thing to use. I think anybody can really use it. I picked it up within a summer. It's not really complicated because a lot of things are already out there. I mean, you can go on to GitHub, you could Google how to build my own AI for this. And a lot of times there is something already built that you just have to, I don't know, like image processing. If you want it to learn what a proper squat technique looks like, you could feed it lots of proper squat techniques, a lot of improper squat techniques, and it will learn.
Wow.
It's not much harder than that. It's pretty much just picking. The biggest thing with AI is feeding it the correct data, the correct yes and no responses. If that's explains it well enough.
Yeah. Interesting.
So it's not really about the C++ or whatever, how to program it. It's about the data sets that you're feeding it. So it can kind of learn on its own what you want it to how you want it to behave.
So is there people controlling the way that it does behave?
Yes. So a lot of places will do corrective actions, I guess is the best way to say it. They'll review the data sets every once in a while and make sure they're not getting worse. So this is where I say machine learning can get worse. So what is it? That Google algorithm back in the 2010s became a Nazi supporter or something because there was just so many people feeding in, and Google wasn't monitoring the inputs or whatever, how it was being built. So it was just free learning. It was just, and people just were like just feeding it junk data, and it was learning off of that. And so it just became a terrible, a terrible system to interact with.
Wow. That's crazy.
So it takes a lot of personnel, a lot of time to really invest into making these systems work. Like, I mean, heck, I think I want to say GPT from OpenAI, they don't even let their system learn off the responses. They collect the responses and then they slowly feed it. Like they have to review them before they feed it back in.
Is
which is usually better, but it takes a lot of time.
I was gonna say, isn't that wouldn't that be better?
It's better, but could you imagine how many people that would take to actually make that work?
Right. Well, it kind of reminds me of my friend Travis. I was with him last week, and he let me drive his Tesla, and he was showing me the how it does the automated driving, the self-driving. And he's like, "Hey, check this." He was like, "Hey, check this out." He puts in an address, and we start going. And then it learned that it can take right turns on red in like states that you can do that, like Michigan. And when it did that, it started to pull out in front of another vehicle.
Oh,
And like we could have gotten into an accident, but it stopped, obviously.
yeah.
But the thing is it records all of that, and then it sends all that data back to Tesla, and then it essentially learns, like it learns driving theory.
Yeah.
And they review it, and then they make it better themselves, and then it just learns from that and becomes better and better and better. I think he said it was like 75% or something like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, that is awesome, but it's also probably one of my greatest concerns with AI is we're letting all this testing being done in real time on our roads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I love AI. I would ride in a self-driving car just because I just love the idea. But at the same time, I mean, we're letting the experiments being done in real time on the roads with humans. I mean, it's definitely a good and bad thing. I mean,
But I mean, you could say that, but then you think about the people that are driving around in vehicles that don't have any sort of smart capability, as far as like maybe like for instance, I have the Toyota, and that thing has all the capabilities of staying in its own lane. It has sensors. It tells you when you're about to ram into another vehicle. It'll stop you.
Yep.
And so it's not like self-driving, but it does like have those capabilities.
Very close.
Very close. And so having that makes the driving experience better, but there's people driving around in vehicles that don't have any of that, and they're playing on their phones, they're distracted. So
definitely.
I would almost argue that that's almost more dangerous than having a vehicle that is learning.
No, this is where I get into, there's both sides. But yeah, I do agree that the AI is going to be at the end of the day safer than an actual
right.
Like heck, especially a new driver that gets distracted on their phone or and whatnot.
Like I have
or even an older driver.
Right. I mean, I have an '08 Grand Prix, and that thing is a dumb vehicle compared to the other vehicle. Like, and what was funny is I was telling my friend Travis, I texted him the next day after he let me drive the Tesla. I was like, dude, this thing is sweet. But it was funny because I drove the Tesla, and then the next day I went in to work some overtime to drive vehicles, and we were driving brand new vehicles that we build. And I'm like, these things are dumb. These are some dumb vehicles. Like, what are we doing?
No, I agree. No, I think the biggest thing though for me is it's fine in Michigan. It's fine in the Midwest. I worry about mountainous areas.
Yeah.
Hilly areas. I mean, they're testing in San Francisco, which I think is great because that's probably the worst case scenario.
San Francisco.
Yeah. Those huge hills. I mean, I listened to one podcast. I think that was doing Google's has like 100 driverless taxis driving around San Francisco.
Oh,
yeah, it's impressive. They had reporters get in and out, and apparently they just drive like old people. They just drive super slow, and I guess I would rather it like that. You kind of know what to expect, and your people around them know what to expect of them. They're not gonna quickly swerve or whatnot. They're just kind of going about their business slowly, carefully.
Right.
Which is usually the best case scenario, I think, for
and they
AIs.
Stop when there's any risk whatsoever. They just stop.
Yeah.
The car will just stop.
Which, I guess in high speed areas I'd worry about, but
right.
I guess on city streets I'd be kind of fine with because usually 30 miles an hour.
Right.
So that's usually fine.
And that was what was interesting about the Teslas. We started pulling out in front of that vehicle, and like for a human to be in that position, you have two choices. You could stop, or you could just floor it and go.
Yeah.
And most people will just floor it and go.
Yeah.
So you have that ability to make that choice, but that self-driving capability made that choice for you, and it just stopped in the middle of an intersection.
Which then the car that's expecting you to floor it then just sees you stop and they're like, oh shoot.
Right. So now they have to make a decision, like, am I going to stop or am I just going to swerve around them?
Yeah. Because maybe this car might decide to keep going now, like
Right.
stop and now just kind of slowly creep or something.
Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be a lot like, I don't know, people driving electric cars and whatnot. It's just going to be a learning curve right here.
Yeah.
People are just kind of learning how to deal with them.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're not going to go away. I do not foresee.
They shouldn't go away.
No, they shouldn't. I don't foresee. I mean, I would love to get in my car and go on a road trip and just kind of play board games or whatever with somebody.
Have you seen those self-driving vehicles? They're like shuttles or like taxis where you can like just sit in them, and they have like a table set up, and you're sitting in the back, and you can just like play games and drink and
so
stuff.
You're kind of like on a train or something at that point.
Yeah.
No, I like
crazy.
those. I mean, it always reminds me of like movies like iRobot or something where you see convoys of just self-driving cars.
Oh my gosh.
It would just make our roads so much more efficient. I don't think we would have congestion anmore.
No.
Everybody would just decide to go on the same speed.
Right.
Unless you had the one person that was driving themselves and then be like, stop driving. just let traffic take you.
That's that one person that in civilization that holds on. It's like they're the person who doesn't have a smartphone or a cell phone.
I imagine it's going to get to the year 2200 and there's going to be like that last person driving themselves and everybody's like, stop doing that. You're so unsafe. Yeah.
Why are you still doing it? It doesn't even make sense.
It's going to be the complete flip side.
Like, it doesn't even make sense for you to do that. Why would you do that? It's like somebody who has a landline as opposed to not having a cell phone. It's like, why would you do that? But the old people do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think I've had a landline in 10 years, 15 years.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for them. Everybody has cell phones now.
Well, yeah, I always find it funny when I look at those forms that says home, work, mobile. I'm like,
it's all the same number.
Mobile, I guess. Like, why do you have this in there anymore? Come on.
That's funny. Yeah, it's crazy to think about how much. I mean, we were talking about this on our run, how much technology has changed over the years. Because like when I was in high school, one of the awesome things to have was like an iPod.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like an iPod Touch was like the best.
Oh, you're rocking out with that?
Yeah.
You need to have your white.
Yeah, the white headphones that came with it. Yeah.
Oh man, you were just like the coolest kid in school.
You were like, oh, bro, you have an iPod?
I know.
Yeah.
No, it was cool.
You like stole all the music from LimeWire.
Yeah. Yeah. Pirated it all. You have it all on there. People are like, oh my God, you have 2,000 songs on there. You must be so rich, because I think back then you had to pay for each song.
Yeah, you did.
If you were going through Apple or something, you had to pay for each song, because I remember doing that.
But you could convert it, which was sweet.
Yeah.
So like you would download it from LimeWire, and then you would upload it as a MP3 file to iTunes.
Yep.
And then I would go through the extra work to find the actual cover art for each song, and I would upload it to that song. So then when you had your iPod Nano or whatever, it would show. So it looked like a legit song.
I did have an iPod Nano, those little squares.
Yeah.
I did have one of those. I think I said I didn't, but no,
Wait,
I remember.
Talking about the little one?
The little one.
That's a shuffle.
Oh, it's a shuffle.
Yeah. Did it have a screen?
No, it didn't have a screen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the shuffle.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought Nano was like the small one.
Yeah. So if you had the shuffle, you were poor. And if you had the Nano.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was poor. But no, I love using that little thing. I would go on runs when I was younger, and yeah, that was just so awesome.
If you think about it, that's probably one of the best ways to run. Like if you want to run with audio, like if you could have a device like that, I mean, I guess you kind of have that with your watches now.
Yep.
But like if you could have a little device like that to where you don't have to worry about bringing your phone, and you could just have a Bluetooth headset, that would be so ideal.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I guess your watch for the most part does that, but I mean, most of the time I put my phone on my arm, and that's about it.
Yeah, I just throw mine in my pocket.
Yeah, I'm always afraid it's gonna fall out.
Yeah,
you're on a run. You're like. And then you lose the audio. Oh, wait, where's it at? It's way back there. Oh, shoot. But no, technology has definitely changed over the years, but I think it's gotten, I just don't know how it's going to get so much better though. That's my only thought is, you know how you keep thinking technology is going to keep going better and better and better.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to get much better. I mean, I don't really want to work with a hologram on a computer. As a computer, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think it's going that way. What I'm thinking, so I was listening to a podcast the other day with Rogan, and he was talking about, he had these people on who work for OpenAI,
Yeah.
and they were talking about how what's interesting about our technology versus like the way the rest of the world is going, or at least our country, is that we're like, we have the technology of gods, but we have the infrastructure of like like old times, like
Yeah. Romans,
essentially,
whatever.
yeah. And so like I think the way it's going to start going is that technology is going to start seeping into those different industries, and then we'll eventually be living in this advanced civilization
I mean, heck, you go
of
into
some sort. I mean, you see like Neuralink, for instance,
Oh,
like they're
man.
curing things now
That'd
with
be
technology.
I could just imagine, instead of going to a computer interface, I guess I can imagine you just kind of think about what you want to build, how you want to interact with the computer, and it just kind of it pulls that information up and then it feeds it back to you, just straight human computer interaction, like without an actual screen.
Right, without having to have a device to look it up.
Yeah. So the information just kind of comes to you.
Is that a good thing? That's what I
Oh,
want
no,
to.
no, I can imagine I can imagine a hacker. What would be the funniest thing? What's one of those funny songs that you see in memes that, like,
Mhm.
I can imagine a hacker just, like, forcing everybody to listen to the most catchiest song
Oh,
that they can
right.
imagine or something, just some
Right.
screwy thing.
It'd be kinda like, one of those TikTok challenges
Yeah.
where everybody's like, "Oh, we need to do that," like the Tide
Yeah.
Tide Pod.
Oh my god.
I don't know, like, I guess, like, my biggest concern about something like that is, like, even with, like, the self-driving vehicles, is what is the protection, the level of protection you have when you agree to use one of those things? Because, like, when you have a cell phone, anybody can hack into it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, technology's it's so easy for people to hack into any account that you have.
But I think anybody that agrees to use technology kind of accepts the inherent risk that someone's gonna be able I mean, of course, there's gonna be protections. There's gonna be the IT fields. There's gonna be hundreds of people working in security. There's gonna be people that's gonna be there to help
But
stop it, but
well,
you gotta kind of accept.
what about the bad actors that get through,
But that's
for
where
instance?
that's where you're when as you're purchasing the device, you're like, "Am I going to, I don't know, put put my social security number on that computer or something? Am I going to put that information in there that gives me that risk?"
Mm.
You kinda buy the devices knowing that risk is inherent.
But what if there's a device inside of you?
A device inside Oh, you're talking about, yeah, if Neuralink was in your brain feeding you stuff, well, that's why I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, but I could see the benefits of how, I guess, neat it would be to be directly connected to the internet. You'd have the information directly fed into your brain. I mean, I have dyslexia.
Do you really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
It is extreme. It takes me, I don't know, it took me, for example, 40 hours a week just to study a subject or something.
Wow. Yeah, we talked about this last time.
Yeah. No. So having a device directly putting info into my brain, that would have been fantastic. I wouldn't have had to spend all that extra time than most people
So how did
trying.
you I'm curious about that because my daughter has dyslexia.
Mm.
How did you just have to focus more? Like
Oh, yeah.
what, or did you have like different like therapies that you went through?
Nothing. I actually
Nothing.
didn't even know I had it until after I was done with college.
Wow.
I just knew I had to work harder.
Wow.
No, I
You're
was
like one of the smartest people I know.
I it's not about being smart, it's about how hard you work. I'm not that smart.
You're smart. You're intelligent.
I guess
You're
I'm
very
now smart.
intelligent.
David says I'm smart, so apparently I'm smart.
You're smart.
No, it's just about, so my biggest thing was I took notes and I rewrote all my notes.
To where it worked for you.
It's about it's about
Repetition.
yeah, repetition, but it's also about, like, for flashcards. It wasn't about reviewing the flashcards. It was the act of writing it out.
Mm.
So it was the act of writing it out that put it into my brain. Me actually seeing it, no, because my dyslexia would like to flip things around. It would take me forever to process the information. It processed better when I was thinking about it while I was writing.
Wow. Wow.
So I would I mean, my notes, I would have an entire binder when I was done with my classes, and I kept some of those binders, because I only learned by writing it out by action. I couldn't just look at something. My fiance, Allie, she would just look at something and she just knows it.
Wow.
She goes, I think when she just got done with her last semester of med school, she would go through 2,000 flashcards a day.
Whoa.
Yeah. And she could just look at something and she could encode it a lot faster. Like, I think we were reading something and she can read 6 times faster than me or something, maybe 8.
Wow.
No, it's funny. I was reading a book. It was like that thick every night, and it took me like a month or something to go through it because it just takes me so much longer. It's laborious just to read.
Mm-hmm. That's impressive.
I mean, that's why I do audiobooks.
Mm,
Yep, and podcasts and whatnot.
that's a good move because I mean it's more efficient. Yeah. I mean, it's good to read, but it's also just more efficient to listen to things.
Yeah, but it wasn't those kind of tools weren't there when I was going through college as much, or they were expensive. They were just coming out, and I didn't really want to invest time learning how to use them, how to really utilize listening to stuff to learn.
Right.
So yeah, dyslexia is no joke.
Do you still like struggle with it? Like,
oh, definitely.
yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last time I work as a coder, funny enough. So I look through things all day. The thing is, I have great spatial. I can actually imagine, funny enough, code as a spatial object. So I can kind of see how things connect while I'm working on stuff. So you don't have to work fast with coding. You just have to work efficiently. And usually me being able to see stuff and connect things helps a lot.
Wow.
I don't know if your daughter's very spatial.
I don't know.
Um,
we just learned that she had dyslexia. Like she got tested.
When I think of what do you think of how do you think of directions when you go from here to, say, the East Lansing Mall?
The Meridian Mall?
Yeah.
I would say from here, I would like how I would get there.
Yeah.
I would go to Mount Hope and drive up to Okemos Road.
Or how do you picture it in your head?
Like how I would go there.
Yeah.
That's how I would picture it.
Just directions. Just left, right, or something. So it's a list.
Yeah.
No, mine is a 3D. Like I can imagine driving past CVS's and whatnot.
So
that kind of thing.
So when you describe it to somebody, how would you describe it?
Well, of course I would describe it. I'm from here. It's been a while since I've been over here, but yeah, I would head over to the highway, head up. So describing it is one thing, but the way you think about it is a different thing. So sure, the way I describe it, because I know most people don't think of things spatially.
Are all people with dyslexia like that?
I have no clue. I think so, but no. I mean, I can picture the entire Meridian Mall. I can picture the insides and everything, and
yeah, I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah, you could do that, but I automatically do that.
Okay,
like that's the only way I think.
So, I'm trying to understand this.
Okay.
So when I say the Meridian Mall, you start picturing 3D.
Yes.
Like
3D layout.
A 3D layout of what it looks like.
Period.
Of like all aspects of the mall.
All aspects.
I mean, that's kind of how I think.
Okay.
Maybe I have dyslexia. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of people in our generation weren't really trained to get to diagnose. I always think getting diagnosed is somewhat of a handicap because then you think,
because then you give yourself limits.
Yeah. Or even worse, excuses.
Yeah.
Excuses for why you can't do something. Because I was like, I didn't really want to know I had that.
Well, especially if you were able to find a way to hack it and be successful regardless. But some people need that help. Some people need a reason, or they need somebody to say, hey, this is what you have, and this is the tools and the things necessary, or that you have access to, that it would be necessary to help you.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I even think some medications are even helpful. I forget. I don't really like Ritalin. I never had that. I think Vyvanse is pretty good, but
isn't that's for ADHD?
Yeah, ADHD, but it also helps you focus. So the problem with dyslexia is your eyes kind of move so fast across the page, you flip stuff around and whatnot, and you don't have the attention span to focus and to grab the concepts and words and whatnot. So a lot of times ADHD meds helps you slow down so you can actually grasp the concept that the page is trying to tell you.
Interesting.
At least that's what I found.
Have you ever taken any of those?
I'm actually just started taking them 2 years ago.
And they help.
and they help. Yeah, I don't know what to say is, yeah, they've just been a huge help with actually being able to focus, to slow down, and I actually found I can actually use my intellect more efficiently. I don't know. I'm not trying to rush through things. I'm not trying to, I don't know what to say. Trying to rush through things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I can kind of slow down and think about something before I
Are you
before I
also
say it.
ADHD?
Oh, yes. But again, I wasn't really diagnosed with any of this stuff because my fiance, when we were, I think I was in my senior year of college, she was like, "You should probably just go get checked out. Maybe you can get some help."
Oh my gosh.
No, and guess what? When I went and I have a third grade reading level
What?
with my speed,
Oh.
with my comprehension speed, third grade.
Do you think like having something like Neuralink would help with something like dyslexia, something like that?
Yeah, as I was saying, well, I don't know really how Neuralink actually how effective it is actually getting information back in.
Right.
I don't think it is.
Because it's getting information out.
Yeah,
Right. Like it's connecting you.
it's about getting dyslexia and ADHD is about getting information in.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
Um,
But if you could have something that was implanted in you and then just fed information into you, then you would have an understanding.
yes, that kind of put everybody on the same playing field,
Right.
same level.
That would be
No,
crazy.
it'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. That'd be crazy.
But again, there's the whole threat.
It would make competition a lot harder
Oh, definitely. People
for like academics.
I think at that point, then it would just be about who put in the most time. It wouldn't be inherent talent or ability.
Oh my gosh.
You would actually see who's the hard worker, which I think would be good.
That would be good because yeah, now you have an even playing field, and it's like now you eliminated the ability of somebody being not smart enough,
Mhm.
but now it's based on your efforts
Yeah.
and your merit.
And I think sure, some people are just going to be talented.
Right.
Like the way they grow up, they inherently have worked with this kind of stuff. They, I mean, it's just like bodybuilding or working out or something. Someone who's squatted all their childhood obviously could walk into the gym.
Right. Or
and start,
biologics even.
yeah, and just yeah, they would outperform everybody for a very long time.
Right.
The people that haven't been doing it would have to work a whole lot harder just to catch up.
Or they might not even catch up.
They might not even catch up if the
Right.
person's just working that hard. If the person consistently always puts in just as much time or more than everybody else, yeah, of course they're going to get further.
Right.
But I think inherently, yeah, if you're able to get that information directly into you, it would definitely level the playing field because it's good. I think medication is good and it's needed by a lot of people, but it'd be great if it wasn't needed.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, because there's so many different side effects of it and so many terrible things happen from people that are on medication.
Oh, definitely. But I don't ever want to say that it's a crutch. I mean, some people just genuinely need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
To live day to day. And I don't want to ever put any type of stigmatism on them for that because it's hard. They've had a hard lifetime to live with this stuff, and that medication is helping them being put on the same playing field as everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't envy anybody that had to do what I had to do and just dog through it.
I remember in the last podcast you had talked about like you would stay up till like 3 a.m. studying.
Oh,
and
all too often.
I didn't realize at that time that you had dyslexia. So you were just studying just so you could just understand.
Oh yeah. No, a lot of classes I would. So the funny thing with dyslexia is you'll be really good with math. 4-pointed calculus, no problem. You could do math, no problem. But yeah, I would spend.
I needed dyslexia. I sucked at math.
Or yeah. No, what was it? Yeah, I would constantly only get C's and B's in any English classes, any writing. Yeah, anything upper level classes. Like once I was in college, my senior years, no problem. Including my master's, no problem. Because all of those you're not really having to demonstrate language abilities and whatnot. You're just you're showing how you orientate subjects and displaying your knowledge at that point.
Right.
You're not having to take in information. You're having to show it out.
Right.
But no, I thought with dyslexia, the biggest thing without medication was just writing stuff down. was just figuring out my method on how to get information into my brain.
There's so many different tools now that we learned about because my daughter has dyslexia. There's like apps that they have that which are extremely expensive. It's like $1,000 a month, or no, maybe it's like $200 a month.
Really?
Yeah, it's like $200 a month, and insurance could cover it, but they choose not to.
Oh,
And because I think it's like still, it was passed by the FDA, but it's highly sought after, I guess. It's an app that would help people with dyslexia.
what is it?
I can't remember. I have to ask my wife.
I think one thing that I found helped as long as I keep doing it consistently is meditation. So I'd use the Calm app.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
Calm.
Yeah.
But yeah, just 10 minutes a day or something of just kind of sitting in peace, being able to kind of center my mind.
Okay.
I don't know. I know it's a lot of hooey.
No, go ahead.
Oh, my fiance would, when we first met, she thought it was a lot of hooey when I would meditate or something.
Really?
Well, come on. It's a lot of stigmatism, and anybody that's from just any small town, any type of self-help or whatever, I always found was kind of looked down upon a
It's
little
like
bit.
woo-woo a little bit.
Weakness or whatever,
Right.
that you can't handle your own mind.
Oh, you spiritual person. How dare you?
Yeah. How dare you trying to better yourself, or
Yeah.
you can't handle yourself? What?
I've had a lot of people on the podcast that are like big into meditation and yoga, and they're like healers and stuff. But the thing is like meditation is proven. I mean, anything could be meditation. Like if it's something that brings peace and calm to your mind, it's meditation. You could be out on a kayak in the early morning. And I mean, I was just talking to a guy this morning or this week about it. You could be floating down a river. The river just looks like glass because it's so clear, and it's just, you feel that the breeze blowing, and you're taking in that fresh air, and
That is
it's
like the
so
perfect image.
calming. It's so calming.
Yeah.
And that's meditation, where you're not thinking about anything, you're not stressing about anything. I think when people like talk about meditation, they think of this woo-woo thing, like you're just sitting on a yoga mat, like it doesn't have to be that.
No.
It could be literally like my wife, when she goes to work, she listens to like some sort of meditation thing in the morning. Like it's just somebody, like, honestly, I don't know what it is. But I would assume that it's somebody doing like some sort of guided meditation and telling you how to breathe, like breathe in, breathe out type of thing.
Yeah.
And she gets huge benefits from it. And she does it while working. So she's doing it while she's actively doing something else. Now, I do think that there's a benefit to not doing anything.
Yes, I think it's good to be able to only focus on one thing or whatever. Usually it's the breath or whatever during meditation.
Right. But it really is just going into your mind and clearing your mind.
Yeah. It's being able to kind of, it's using the word center yourself. Or
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you balance, you have a good balance.
Yeah.
You ground yourself.
Focus on one thing and one thing only, so that you're not thinking about the future, past. You're not getting anxious. You're not trying to overthink about this thing or that thing.
And that's an interesting thing too, when you say don't think, because then people are like, well, I can't not think. I always think. And it's like, that's the purpose of meditation. Like you will think, but you always bring yourself back to whatever that one thing is that grounds you into the meditation. Like for me, it's breathing.
Yeah.
So like you focus on your breathing, you always come back to it. Like, so your mind might start wandering, but then when it starts wandering, then you're just like, okay, start breathing again. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
I mean,
and then you're not focused on anything else.
I think people are worried about whether it's successful or not. They put too much stress on themselves for their meditation to be successful. You know, I mean, they're like, oh shit, I couldn't focus on my breath for 10 minutes. And then they get wrapped up and then I think it's not for me. You mean I failed at it? It's not for me. They kind of put at least I did. I kind of, for a minute, I put a stigma on how well I was meditating, but then I kind of put a goal. If I can meditate for 1 second, it's successful. Of course, I'm going to put it for 10 minutes, like the whole meditation session or whatever.
Right.
But I guess if you need some type of goal, just keep it at 1 second or something. Just be able to think about your breath for 1 second.
It's kind of like when you plan to work out, like you go to a gym and you plan to work out, but you're not working out that whole time. No. Like you're going to take rests and you're going to take breaks. You're going to play on your phone. You're not working out. You're hindering yourself.
Was it TikTok for you?
Was that?
Is it TikTok for you?
No, it's honestly Facebook and scrolling that gets you.
That gets you.
And then next thing you know, 2 minutes have gone by and you're like, oh, I need to do my next set.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I wasn't focusing on recovering.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like it's kind of the same thing where you just got to like remember to bring yourself back. It's not like
Definitely.
it's not doing the whole 10 minutes. It's just trying to get as much of that 10 minutes out as you can possibly get.
Definitely.
And that's what I think about when I do hot yoga. I had mentioned to you earlier. I'm like, "Have you ever done hot yoga?" And
Yeah. Stripped all my clothes off and just sat in a room by myself and turned up the heat. Right.
yeah, I mean essentially that's what it is. um when I've gone and
No.
done hot yoga, like I've done a couple classes, it wears you out. Like it's an hour, hour and a half class in a sauna,
Yoga
essentially.
alone will wear you out.
What's that?
Yoga alone will wear you out.
Yeah, it's brutal. And so when you're done with it, they usually do some sort of guided meditation afterwards. And afterwards, you're just like your mind doesn't wander. You're focused only on your breathing and recovering. And it's one of the most amazing feelings you can possibly get. And it sounds like this woo-woo thing, but like when the first time I ever did hot yoga, I was tripping. The guy was like doing this guided meditation. You're hot, you're laying on a mat afterwards.
Yeah.
Your eyes are closed. You could hear little music in the background. And I was picturing that I was on a mat or I was on a beach on the sand. I could feel the sand. I could feel the sun rays hitting my body. I could hear the waves crashing.
Oh, definitely.
And then it only lasted a couple seconds and I snapped out of it. I
The
was
most
like,
peaceful moment
it
you could
was
possibly have.
so peaceful. And it was like, whoa, what was that?
Kind of reminds me of without the adrenaline, like a cold plunge.
Yeah.
Like all you could think about is the cold. I mean, the whole
Mhm.
purpose of meditation is thinking about the here and now, whether it's
Right.
the breath, whether it's the sound of nature around you, or if someone could somehow focus on silence, I guess silence. I'd be pretty impressed if someone could just focus on silence. But yeah, I think a cold plunge is kind of a good taking a cold shower or whatever is probably a good equivalent to meditation.
I think it's a form of meditation
Yeah,
because you definitely focus on whatever it is that gets you through that moment. You're in
definitely.
the moment
Yeah,
and you cannot focus on anything else. You're not thinking about, oh, I got to go here later. Or I got to
yeah,
go run this errand later. I got to go do this. I got to go to work. You don't think about any of that. You're
yep,
not worried about anything but just getting through that shitty
yeah,
situation.
yeah. I think we were talking about this earlier. I thought it was hilarious. Is the common person would look at our lives as like, oh shoot, you're just trying. You go for runs. Well, that's freaking sucks. You go work out once a day or whatever, and you hurt yourself. Well, why were you doing that? Oh, how can you make your life any worse? Oh, you go take cold plunges. What is wrong with you?
Why would you want to do that?
Why are you putting yourself through so much pain? But yeah, it's just about trying to better yourself and just kind of getting your mind in the right state.
I think it's needed. I
It's
really
definitely
do.
needed.
I think it's needed because and that's one thing like I realize in myself is when I'm not disciplined and I just fall off the wagon, I'm not running, I'm not doing cold showers or I'm not working out like I should be. I fall off my diet. That's when like seasonal depression, that's when like all these different
Mhm.
stress, anxiety, that's when all those things start to seep in and then
Yeah,
your life just becomes this like perpetuating spiral of like doomness. It's just like it's not good. And so that's where I think like doing hard things is important.
oh yeah, I think you need to start the day by doing something hard every single day. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess the worst case scenario, you could look at it like, how could my day get any worse?
Well, that's what we were talking about with the cold
Yeah.
plunge or cold showers is like that's more than likely the hardest thing you'll do
Oh,
that
definitely.
day.
I don't know. My morning runs or whatever, or workouts or whatever I do in the morning, that's usually the hardest thing.
Really?
I don't mind. I enjoy getting in a cold shower now.
Mm.
I don't know why. You do it for so long, you're like, you kinda look forward to it almost.
So you're ready for the next step. You're ready for a cold plunge.
Oh, yeah, I'm saving up the money right now to g the bit it's easy to get the bin or whatever, the
Yeah.
hard part is to actually get so I live in down San Antonio, so it's 70 degrees out right now.
That's
So I need to get an actual, an ice cooler or a cooler, a
right.
water cooler,
Right.
and those things cost, if you wanna get a good one, 400, $500.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can get one for, through 300, but they'll only drop it down to, like, 15 degrees. I want it down to, like, 8.
8 degrees?
Oh, yeah, 8
Whoa.
Celsius.
Whoa. Oh, okay.
I think it's 8 yeah, 8 degree yeah,
So what would 8 degrees Celsius be in Fahrenheit?
8 degrees Celsius, well, let's see, 8 plus what is it, 8 times 1.8, so I'm just gonna times by 2, 16, thir 40s, 52.
52 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's possible. That's totally possible.
Maybe it's more like 46 because of, yeah.
So I'll show you when we're done, but I'm building a cold plunge right now, and the chiller that I have goes down to 40 degrees.
That's nice.
And yeah, it's nice. And so I went and did this place in Grand Rapids. You could do this this experience. It's a sauna, and they call it fire and ice. It's a sauna and a cold plunge.
I've seen those kind of places.
It's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
And so the cold plunge was at 50 degrees, and it's cold. It's really cold.
Perfect.
I would say it's perfect, but you just got to do it longer to get the same benefits. So, I don't remember where I was going with that, but what I wanted to say is that if that's something you want to do, I could totally help you.
Oh yeah, no, I just have to get the equipment. That's all.
Yeah.
Actually, right now I'm building a patio on my backyard.
Oh, cool.
So I want to.
Perfect.
Well, you know what? The one thing you don't think about as much when you move down to Texas,
Heat.
there's tons of poisonous things.
Ah.
You know, black widows, scorpions. I actually found a scorpion. I found snakes and whatnot. There's rattlers. My neighbors told me about that are in the area, and
oh my gosh,
it's those things. I don't really want to step on one in the morning or find one in my cold plunge. So I have to make sure I have to get it all. Make sure it's.
I would think if it landed in the cold plunge, it'd probably die.
I would hope so, but I don't want to open it up in the morning when it's dark out and whatnot and get in and there's a water snake or something in there, and I'm like, oh
gosh.
no.
Yeah, no, snakes are the worst.
I don't mind snakes. It's the spiders that I am afraid of.
They have poisonous spiders down there.
Oh, lots of them.
How big are they?
I don't know. I think I saw they were like that big, so you don't even see them.
Oh my gosh.
I guess that's the worst. I don't mind tarantulas. At least they're only a little poisonous. I guess I could make it to the ER and whatnot, but no, I'm afraid of the little things that you can't really see. Like I just put in so they had I just bought a house. They had the under the stairs closed off, and I was kind of afraid of breaking through the wall because I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna find back here.
I've seen those videos of like somebody ripping down their ceiling, and there's a giant freaking snake.
Yep.
And I'm like, nope. What's crazy is, so like my kids make fun of me because I'm terrified of snakes. I hate snakes. And it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what size snake it is. It could be a little gardener snake. And I'm like, nope, don't want to see it. I know that it can't hurt me. I know that. Yeah. I just don't like them. And so I think this is where my fear of snakes came in, is when I was a kid. I lived in Florida, and they have giant snakes down there. And so my brother and I were walking home from school one day, and we're walking down this alleyway behind our house, and there was a giant freaking snake. And it was probably as long as this room. The alleyway was kind of small, but it was like as wide as this room. And so we're walking down, and I see this thing. I go to step over, and I thought it was like a log or something, and it moved. And I was like, that's a snake. And so I started crying. I started backing up, and I ran the opposite way. And ever since then, I hated snakes.
Oh, I don't blame you. If you ran into one of those things when you were little, you're like,
okay. Now my perception of that might be slightly off because I was younger.
Yeah, but it's still a big snake.
But it was a big snake. It was still big. It doesn't matter how long or thick it was. It was like, I mean, from my memory, it was like that big.
Yeah.
That could eat me.
Now, do we need to do like a Survivor thing where we throw you in a pit of snakes?
Absolutely not.
And that will solve your fear?
Absolutely not.
Oh, man. So today we're going to throw David in a pit of snakes. We're going to see how he reacts.
It might be a good move to overcome that fear.
No, I think it would just make it worse.
It might make it worse. I'd probably freak out, honestly.
You would see like a ramen, you'd think of snakes, and you're like, nope, not in ramen anymore. No, I don't think, because I'm afraid of spiders. So if you threw me in a room full of tarantulas, that even if they weren't poisonous, you had them all like defanged or whatever, yeah, that wouldn't be a good day for me.
Yeah, I'm not terrified of spiders. I don't like spiders. I'm not a fan, but I'm not terrified.
Oh, I'll pick one up if I have to. But yeah, snakes, I have no problem. I'll pick them up. No problem.
That's wild. I
actually picked one up in Texas. Thank God I was a gardener. I wasn't even thinking, because I love picking up snakes. Because the gardeners here, you could pick up any snake, even if it's like a blue racer. You don't have to really kill you.
Right. What is the most poisonous snake in Michigan? Is there a poisonous one?
I thought a blue racer was.
That's like a water snake, right?
Something. Yeah, I thought they were kind of poisonous.
Okay.
But I don't think they can kill you. you're just gonna get a little sick.
I don't want to find out.
No, I don't want to find it either. But no, I picked one up in Texas. And thank God it was a gardener, but I picked it up and I was like, oh shit, I'm in Texas. So I threw it. And I don't think it was poisonous, but I was like, I could have gotten myself hurt there because that wouldn't have been fun.
It's crazy, like when you grow up in one place and you just, especially Michigan, because you don't really have to worry about too much.
Nothing.
I mean, everything that's dangerous for you dies for the most part. But then when you go to like a southern state, you have to worry about a lot of things.
Yeah. No, I'm constantly now thinking about, because I go on runs now, and so I'm always now worried about rattlers or something. Now, of course, most animals, even poisonous animals, do not want to harm you.
Yeah.
They don't want to be near you. They want to be far away from you.
Yeah.
So if you come in their direction, they'll try to get away.
Have you ever seen the videos of the people running in like Colorado? Like they'll be on a trail and then like a mountain lion comes.
Well, they have a territory.
Mountain lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mountain lions, bears, and whatnot. So they're just trying to protect their territory.
Yeah.
At that point. So you're in their space.
Yeah.
And they feel cornered.
Yeah.
They feel cornered even though they're not cornered.
There's so many crazy videos of that where like people are shooting back at them.
Oh, that is just crazy. No, yeah, I've seen bears. I've seen grizzly bear videos of people just kind of, what is the recent one? The guy opening up his tent and there's a grizzly bear right out there and he's like,
yeah,
no.
He closed it back. I'm like, it's going to do anything.
Apparently the bear didn't attack him, but because I think a lot of animals have, like, if they can't see you, you're not there anymore.
Right.
But still.
Or they have to figure out how to get to you.
Or have to figure out how to get to you. I'm like, oh my God, that'd be so terrifying.
I mean, could you imagine if that bear was really hungry? He probably would have gotten that person. He would have found a way.
Oh yeah,
he would have smelled it, and he would have tried to get to them.
It would have been a very bad day. I don't think that video would have been released. I know that unless the family was really morbid there. Hey, look at this. This was really cool. He was even taking a video of this while it was happening. It's
so crazy to think about. We live in such wild times where like you could literally video anything and it could become a viral sensation just like that.
No, definitely. No, I'm trying to think of more stuff that's just wild. I wouldn't even imagine would be online, but
I mean, there's a lot of things like people like in squirrel suits jumping off cliffs and stuff. Or one of the most craziest things is those people that the parkour people.
That's what I was just thinking about.
The sky rise high, like the skyscraper people.
That's what I was just thinking about.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't imagine. What is it? They just jumping from one ledge or even onto a little pole that's high up, and I'm just like, do you not value anything anymore? Or do you just give up on life?
No, I definitely think those people have like a certain level of risk that they have to have in their life.
Yeah, they just love adrenaline or something. I mean, I've gone skydiving and I think I said that last time or something. I don't remember, but I had a fear of heights, so I did that and didn't solve the fear of heights, but I like it now. I would go skydiving again.
Would you?
Yeah.
I went skydiving a couple of years ago.
What is it? Yeah, no, it was a blast. It was funny. It was our third date with me and Allie. Took her skydiving.
Your third date?
Yeah, and she loved it. She was just thinking, "Oh my God, if this guy's willing to go skydiving on the third date, what else are we gonna do in our life?"
He's down for anything.
Yeah. And I suggested it and signed us up. And then afterwards, funny enough, we went apple picking and then made apple pies.
Oh wow!
And it was
how romantic.
I don't think I could ever top that again. That was probably the most epic date I could ever have done. Like, took her out to dinner. We made apple pies, skydiving. Yeah, I don't know how else we could have done that.
Here, let me share my screen. This is absolutely crazy.
Oh.
If it ever loads. Yeah.
Everybody's looking at our back.
So when I went skydiving, it was crazy because it got canceled the first time I went, and that because of like the cloud or wind or whatever. And then I was able to go again, and we got into the plane. I was fine. I was like excited to do it. But then once you get up in the air and you hit the realization of I'm going to jump out of this plane and that's it. And it's like, this could be it. Like it could be. You don't know.
You just kind of accepted at that point, like, well, I guess my life is done right now, I guess.
Yeah. But it goes back to meditation. Is like, this is one of the most peaceful things you could do. So like we jumped out and we're like,
are you a screamer?
No, I'm not. No, I don't think I screamed. I might have like hollered a little bit, like, wow, this is awesome, type of thing. But we jumped out, we're kind of twirling around in the air, free falling, whatever. And then he hits the parachute and we're just gliding. And you're just kind of floating around. And then that was one of the most peaceful things. And he's like, do you like yeah. Like, look at this. This dude. Are you afraid of heights? Terrifying skyscraper parkour.
That dog's just like, hey, what's going on over here? A little popping ad.
Yeah. So then he's like, do you like adrenaline? And he's like starts moving the parachute around, and we just start spinning, spiraling towards the earth. Yes, that's a lot of fun. Look at this. Like, what?
That I don't understand. Without any attachments or nothing.
No.
Just doing this and not. I just don't see the point. But
it's adrenaline. People need the adrenaline rush.
I mean, but in any wrong movie, life's just.
And they don't have anybody that loves them. Apparently. To tell them not to do it.
I don't know.
Look at that. Oh my gosh. That dude almost fell. That dude saved his life.
Yeah.
Oh no.
God,
he almost fell. This is one of the most wildest things. Why would you walk across a string
without a guide cable?
No way.
Because normally there'd be a cable that trails behind you.
Right. You're wearing some sort of harness.
I mean, I guess some of these people they're trained for this stuff. They've done this forever, but
how did they get trained though? That's the question.
They started at low levels and they learn what they're capable of and whatnot, and then they move higher up, and then they just know. But my thought with this is, even if you know yourself, you're still worried about maybe a gust of wind or something.
Right. Like every circumstance isn't always going to be the same.
No. Yeah, no.
Just like.
Yeah, he meant, yeah.
That could have gone wrong so many different ways.
Yeah.
Oh, let's bring a bike into it.
And then, yeah. Run into that movie where he gets caught between two boulders and it's soft and play.
Yeah, this is crazy. So,
no, I think I have my Allie told me I had the highest pitched scream she's ever heard when I jumped out of a plane, and I was like, oh, that's fun.
That's fun.
Yeah.
No, would you do it? So you would do it again?
I would do it again.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I love it. I will say I love adrenaline quite a bit.
I think a lot of people have they have a need for some sort of adrenaline, whether it's some sort of crazy event or maybe it's just something that excites them.
Yeah.
In some sort of way. Like it could be like an exciting event or something like that.
I think now I just get it with my cold showers in the morning or something.
Yeah.
Because it definitely hits the adrenaline in the morning, and
right.
Then you're just calm the rest of the day.
Right.
But yeah, no, I would definitely go a skydiving game, but I wouldn't do parkour. That is just crazy. But I applaud those people because I guess they're just doing what they love.
Yeah. I mean, who's to stop you? If you want to do that, go do it.
Your grandma's sitting there, don't do it.
It's like the Alex Honnold guy. Have you seen him? He free climbs mountains.
I think I've read some type of TED talk with him or something.
Okay.
Because he did Yosemite without any harnesses or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's crazy.
And he started from nothing. He wasn't even, I think he was in his 20s, and he just decided, I'm going to start free climbing.
Yeah.
What the heck? But it's amazing. I mean, the consistency and the hard work that goes into them being able to do that, I mean, it's inspiring.
Yeah, because you have to be so dialed in to that. It's like a
And they don't want to die.
no.
No. But they're so hardworking and consistent, and they want it so bad that they just go after it, and they get it.
Right. And they plan for it. They train for
They
it.
plan for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like anything, but it's amazing that there's people out there that are willing to do that.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, no, and I mean, heck, we need those kind of people. I mean, you see jobs like having to climb up mile tall towers to change light bulbs and whatnot.
Yeah, those are some of the most highest paying
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I might do it for that kind of money, but I don't know if I'd be willing to do it consistently.
I used to work for Right Tree Service back in the day, and they started getting me to climb trees.
Mm,
And when you think of that career, you think of like a bunch of rough, like crazy, like
Yeah.
just hillbilly, like rough blue collar workers.
mhm.
But it's one of the most dangerous jobs that you could possibly
yeah.
do. I mean, especially for the Right Tree Service, because you're working around power lines.
Yeah.
And I climbed a tree a couple times, and it was scary.
Oh yeah. No,
It's scary.
because you're how tall up? Your whole
I mean,
how tall-
you could be at the tip of a tree.
yeah,
It doesn't
so
matter what size the
40,
tree is.
40, 50, 60 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the tree's blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how much trees move. Like a full
Oh,
thick
man.
size like tree.
And then
can-
you're
can be moving like this.
shimmering yourself up the tree.
You're humping up the tree,
Humping
which
up
is
the
what they
tree.
call it. They call it
Humping,
humping
yeah.
the tree. And then you're tied in. So you
Mm.
throw a line up, and you learn your different knots, and then you have
Mhm.
like a pulley system.
Yeah.
And so you're like your life, like your life is based on your knowledge of being able to tie knots.
And
Essentially,
then you're cutting the tree as you're going down a little bit
Yeah.
sometimes.
so you have to pay attention to where your rope is.
And then you're like, oh shoot, I
It-
accidentally cut my rope, and I'm just gonna hang in here.
Yeah,
Oh man, that'd be terrifying.
I mean, so you always had like a safety tie.
Yeah.
You were always tied in somewhere else too, in case like that did happen.
Lower down like a rock climber.
Right,
But
but
still, you hit a couple of branches on the way down. It's okay.
that's one of the most crazy careers to learn, because the only way to learn is by doing it.
Mhm.
And the only way to learn all those different things is by doing it
Mhm.
wrong,
Oh yeah.
or
Definitely.
learning how to do it right and then just remembering.
Or seeing another person doing it wrong. You're like, oh, I don't want to do that. That looks like it hurt. That looks real painful. I don't want to do that. That's a lot of blood.
One of the most crazy stories that I was ever told, and it was by somebody I knew. He was the safety rep for Right Tree Service. There was a storm that came through, and a lot of times Right Tree Service, they would go out, and they were contracted through Consumers Energy, so they would go out whenever there were storms and clean up all the brush and everything that hit power lines. And this guy was out working, and he was cleaning up some brush, grabbed a power line, and the only thing that was left of him was his boots. That's the only thing that they could identify.
Because those are what, 20,000 volts?
I don't even
20,000?
know. But yeah, he accidentally grabbed a power line, and there was absolutely nothing left of him,
Oh,
which is terrible.
that I hate to say this, but at least it was quick.
Oh my gosh.
That would have probably been the quickest death you could imagine. But oh my God, the moment you realize you did that, oh
I don't even think that there's a realization.
no, probably not. But I'm sure there's some sort of realization, like right before you grab it, you realize what you're about to grab onto, and then
Yeah.
and then of course the electricity then just forces you to
Right.
grasp.
Right.
Oh, that would just been terrible.
Absolutely terrible.
No, I'm sure I'm curious about the statistic on how many people that happens to every year.
I think it happens quite often. I mean, because there was another guy that I knew, somebody he knew got accidentally grabbed a power line during another storm. And it was just like he was on his property, found a power line, picked it up, and yeah, same thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean that was kind of I'm going to say a little bit their fault for picking up a power line. I mean, you're on the ground, you kind of looking around, you see a power line.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, you never touch it.
Yeah.
Never touch a power line.
I get skeptical driving over them because
Yeah. I wouldn't drive over them.
I was in a situation where I had no choice.
What, you were blocked in?
Yeah, it was during one of the last storms we had. It was a really bad storm. There was
Huh.
lines laying on the ground, and there's trees and everything. And Yeah, maybe I did have a choice. I just had to go that way.
Oh, you're like, I'm just gonna go that way.
And so I drove over it, hoping that it wasn't a live line, and it wasn't. But
The best, I don't know. I don't really know a good suggestion for this, but I think if I was in that situation, I'd be thinking, which side goes towards the power plant?
mm,
Thinking one side might not have less of a chance of producing electricity, I guess.
see, the way I was,
But yeah, I guess if that's
that's a good point.
Yeah.
But the way I was thinking was I was in the middle of a storm still, and I'm like, this could be a tornado. And so the tornado could be
Yeah.
coming my way. Last I knew, it was coming towards me. So I don't
Yeah.
want to go back.
Oh yeah,
I wanted to go that way.
I see. Yeah,
So-
that'd be a very
do I-
scary scenario.
So do I drive towards and go like around and possibly end up in the
Get
same
hit by the
situation?
tornado.
Right. Or do I just risk driving over this power line? And I have rubber
Well,
wheels. So
yeah, I know that's what I was thinking. You have rubber wheels, but I'm just afraid if the power line for some odd reason
right, and hit
And
the
the-
vehicle.
connects to the underside of the vehicle and then zap,
I
and then you're done. I don't know how it reacts through the chassis.
don't either.
I don't know. I don't.
I don't either.
I know electrical safety and whatnot, but I don't think we're ever taught this the situation of
No.
how.
But that's where I think like having above ground power lines is like such a thing of the past. Like, why don't we have
I know.
most lines underground? Like for this neighborhood specifically.
I think it's just harder to access, and it just costs so much money to install them under the pavement. And people are worried that if someone starts digging down,
Mm.
they might accidentally hit a power line.
Yeah, but that's where you're supposed to have like
Well, yeah.
permits and
And you're
dig
supposed to,
and
and
all
you're
that
supposed to
stuff
have like
come out.
a metal conduit and whatnot running along
Right.
with that stuff in there.
So we have underground power lines for this neighborhood, and we
Oh, that's good.
almost never lose power. Even like during big storms where most of the city's out, we have power.
Yeah, same with my neighborhood.
And it's like,
Makes sense.
why it makes sense. Why don't they do this
And
everywhere?
it looks so much nicer.
Yes.
You don't see all the power lines going crisscrossing, all the internet, all the telecom.
You don't have some idiot hitting a power line and putting
Yeah.
everybody's power out.
Yeah. No, it just makes so much more sense. I don't understand it. And then I don't know why. I just also like it just because it doesn't look terrible.
Yeah, no, it looks clean. It looks nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
But no, yeah, power going out, that's kind of nice. My freezer stays on. That's like a part of a problem. It's not a big deal.
That's not something you really have to worry about too much in Texas, although they did almost lose their power grid a couple years ago, right?
Oh no, they I mean, I've never had my power out, but parts of the city has, especially parts of the city that has the power lines above the street. I've seen that out once in a while. And I guess a few years back, they used to have rolling blackouts during the summer.
Oh, wow.
Well, because all of the electricity being used for air conditioning.
Yeah.
It just takes up so much electricity.
Wow.
Yeah, no, but
And then they had that winter storm as well.
oh yeah, I've heard that was just terrible.
You weren't there during that time?
No, I just moved there in 2022.
Okay.
So that happened in 2020. Actually, I think it did happen in 2021. No, I heard that was just terrible. I mean, so that's where all of their we have consumers up here, but they have something called CPS down there, but that is it's all private. Like even the problem is people that don't even live in that city control the power grid. So they control how much money is being used to update stuff and whatnot.
How so?
Well, I mean, heck, there's I think there was only like a handful of people that was on the I guess I'm going to say consumers for people that know it up here.
Yeah.
The consumers for down there, people on the board. One guy was in New York that ran that company, and one person was in Oklahoma. So they weren't even living in the state because it was all a public company.
Right.
So that's the one downside I think of not having government officials is that it's not run from up there. So they're like, oh, it's perfectly fine up here.
Right.
We don't need to worry about updating the electricity. Oh, it's not going to be that hot.
Oh,
so it was 110 degrees all summer. I mean, I don't think my air conditioning turned off. Sorry, it turned off. It only ran for 16 hours a day. My air conditioning at my house down there.
If you get a cold plunge, you might not need the air conditioning for at least half the day.
Oh, I'm still going to have air conditioning. Trust me. No, no, the way you have to think about it is it costs more to bring it back down. You got to have it down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to sleep in 67 degree temperature.
That's a good temperature for good sleep.
Oh, it is perfect.
Yeah.
And then have it jump up to 72 during the day, and that's fine. But man, no, it's ridiculous their power grid down there. They need to update it. It's funny, they actually just had a bill to invest $10 billion in gas power plants throughout the state, or cold fire power plants and whatnot. And they're all against windmills and solar. I don't know why. It's a perfect state for solar.
Ooh, don't they have like windmill graveyards down there?
I don't know. I know it is very difficult to recycle windmills, though. It is very difficult because it's all covered in fiber.
They just essentially throw them into landmines or landfills. I mean,
yeah,
landmines.
Landmine, perfect. Because you can't burn them, you can't recycle them. Really, I mean, you can't mend them and fix them because they're not going to be as strong.
Right.
Because carbon fiber is just one long big piece.
There's not a way to recycle them.
I want to say there is, but the costs of recycling would be pretty high.
All right, let me share my screen real quick.
I'm just curious how long we've been doing this.
An hour and 35 minutes. We'll wrap it up here soon.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just curious. I was like, it just kind of occurred to me.
Okay, so the Texas Monthly.
Yep.
Look at that. Look at that graveyard. Thousands of old wind turbine blades pile up in West Texas.
I mean, yeah, it's bad, but
okay. So this was update September 25th. General Electric filed a lawsuit last week claiming the global fiberglass solutions has failed to fulfill its promise to recycle thousands of blades. GE says it paid the company $16.9 million to recycle about 5,000 wind turbine blades, but that GFS instead stockpiled them at a facility in Sweetwater and Iowa. Only after GFS took millions of dollars from GE did GFS all but shut down its operations without recycling the blades. Reads the complaint. Okay, so.
But what I see when I read this is I say $17 million to recycle 5,000 blades. How hard is it for GM to recycle cars and whatnot and batteries? Because they're starting to do that, I think.
Recycle?
Yeah. What I'm thinking is $17 million is a drop in the bucket for that kind.
That's not that much money.
No. For thousands and thousands of blades.
Right.
I mean, those things are huge.
So every year since 1958, West Texas town of Sweetwater has hosted the world's largest rattlesnake roundup, which is exactly what it sounds like. Thousands of venomous, how do you say that? Ophadians are rooted out of their dens and brought to the Nolan. What does this have to do with anything?
I have no clue. I bet that they hide in that pile. I don't know. Okay, it's just a big rattlesnake farm.
Somebody said it's just a hazard all the way around. Meyer said she worries about neighborhood children exploring the unfenced piles and says that the stagnant pools of water inside the blades breed swarms of mosquitoes. Matt Jackson, who works in a nearby warehouse, has other concerns. The piles create shaded nooks and crannies, perfect for Sweetwater unofficial mascot. It's just a big rattlesnake farm. Oh, okay. So the water and all the crevices attract all these critters.
No, I don't think the windmills themselves are a problem. I just think GE and whoever.
That's crazy though. Look at that.
Well, yeah, the Sweetwater was just being very corrupt and just taking the money and not doing anything, or not or just telling them that's not enough. You need like $50 million or $100 million to recycle all this.
How would you recycle that?
I don't know. I assume shredding it and reconstituting it into new blades. I don't know how fiberglass blades are actually built though.
Is there a different way that you can make them without fiberglass?
I would assume so, but the thing is, fiberglass just might be the lightest and strongest material for this application and cheapest.
Okay.
I think that's just what it is. It's just cheap, light, and strong. That's why it's used for wind turbine blades. But I don't know the recycling process that's involved because what do you do with it? I don't know.
Right.
But I do think that in states like going back to the power solution for Texas, I mean, their power going out during the winter was just a problem because they just didn't have the capacity to deal with generating that much heat. I mean, they recently are starting to pay people to insulate their houses.
Whoa.
and whatnot. Well, it's good for cooling and heat.
Right.
It's pretty much just
Yeah.
stops the loss or gain of heat from a
Right.
house. But yeah, a lot of houses don't have insulation. My house has solar panels, but most of them don't.
How does that work? Does it go into a battery storage?
I would like to have a battery storage. Those cost though like 10 grand or something for even a modest one,
Okay.
but it can last like 3 days or something. It's good.
Okay.
I would have one if I had the money for it, but no, no, it just goes right back into the grid. It
Okay.
just goes right back into the grid, and we get paid a little bit for it. But in my case, we use more electricity than we
So you don't get
would
paid
give
for
back.
it.
No, we don't really get paid for it, but it knocks our electricity bill by half. So our electricity bill would probably be about 250, 300 a month
Oh,
during the
okay.
summer. But because of the solar panels, it's like 190.
Wow.
It's not that much.
Huh.
It's more than it's down here,
Yeah.
or up here. But
Yeah.
no, they definitely need to solve the energy crisis in Texas, but they're just kind of throwing money at the problem to build coal-fired power plants just for the winter.
Wow.
It's apparently going to just sit idle for like 10 months out of the year or something.
The coal?
Those plants.
That's crazy.
Yeah, where they could have just invested in more solar and
Weren't they getting
wind.
their energy from out of state?
I think so. I forget exactly what was happening.
Here,
on
let me
that
see
one.
if I can find that, and then we'll wrap this up.
Because I just moved there last year, so I've done a ton of research on their energy.
Okay, let's see here.
But something that they were trying to do was build giant battery storage facilities, so where they would just store electricity and then release later on when the communities need them, like during the cold.
Right.
But that's so far has failed.
So it says early power plants produce electricity primarily from coal, steam, and hydroelectric energy. Today, Texas still generates electricity from some of these traditional sources, but increasingly relies on natural gas as well as renewable resources, primarily wind. Let's see. I think they get it from another, like they get a large percentage of it from another state too.
Well, I mean, most states actually do that, where the entire country is connected.
Or no, they're on their own power grid.
They are. I think so. I was just waiting.
So
to see
it's not connected.
I don't think it's connected.
All right, hold on. Let me change my search.
It should be connected. I mean, it just makes sense in case your power goes out. You have plants that go down. Because I know during one crisis here, Michigan State's power plant actually helped fed most of the eastern seaboard.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, at one point there was a huge power outage, so we helped. They helped supply power. I guess not most Pennsylvania and whatnot. As far
was that when we were like younger, we were kids.
Yeah,
because I remember General Motors going out of power, and my dad came home early.
All right,
yeah,
I had to go home.
So it says by not crossing state lines, the synchronous power grid is most respects not subject to federal energy regulatory commission regulation. All the electric utilities in Texas interconnection are electrically tied during normal system conditions and operate at a synchronous frequency of 60 Hz.
Yeah, which I think most of the country is 120 hertz or something.
Wow.
I forget. 80 hertz? I don't know. It's definitely different. It's been a while since I've studied that, but
Texas is the only one of the contingent. I can't say that.
Yeah.
Contiguous 48 states, which its own standalone electricity grid. Why is that?
They just like to be special sometimes.
They just want to be more free than everybody.
Yeah, I guess. Which in that case means you don't have power at some points. That's their choice. But no, I think Texas should connect it to the rest of the grid. But again, that's going to take a bit of, because they have a different frequency for how their wind or power turbines.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever been into a plant like that.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, each of the turbines rotates at a specific speed, and that's what generates the frequency. I don't know why they chose 60 hertz. That's their choice, but it wouldn't be that hard to change it. It would just be different plant operations, and how the heck do you slow them all down at the same time?
Right.
and then connect it to the main grid. So you have to literally shut down cities or something to, I guess, change the frequency that it's running at.
Whoa.
Which that would be pretty hard.
That would be hard.
Yeah.
So you'd almost have to build like a backup facility
Yeah.
or something
And then
just to do that.
and then flip it, and then which I guess now would probably be the best time for it.
Yeah.
But I doubt that's going to happen, at least in our lifetimes.
Right.
Usually, you've seen how politics happen. Once things are going, that you don't really want to stop them.
Yeah.
Same thing with that kind of stuff. It just kind of affects politics.
Right. Absolutely.
People's lives.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We've had consistently 3 people watching this whole
Awesome.
time, which is awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. This was a lot of fun. This is our Christmas episode. So Merry Christmas to everybody.
I should have worn my Christmas suit.
I know. I thought about wearing like a Christmas hat, but
lost opportunity.
Yeah. But this was a lot of fun. No, I really enjoy like whenever I have somebody who's willing to do the podcast, working out with them and then doing the podcast, because I think like when you do something hard with somebody, it builds this bond, and because you're struggling together and you have like a sense of camaraderie. So when you come and sit down for a conversation, then it's like fully authentic.
Oh, definitely.
And I love that. I love that feeling.
And you kind of build topics together while you're working out and kind of figure out where the podcast is going to take place.
I mean, we were talking that whole run could have been a podcast.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would have been it'd be a fun podcast.
It would have been.
It wouldn't have been much video, but
no, but the audio would have been like pretty substantial, because I mean, we talked a lot about a lot.
Oh yeah. I know the breathing might have taken up half the podcasts.
Yeah. And if you could find a way to cut that out, it probably wouldn't be so bad.
You can almost.
Yeah, you probably could. Well, thanks for doing this. This was a lot of fun. And I'm definitely going to take something from this and try to change the way I do some things, and add some experiences for the guests that want to partake in wanting to do something difficult with me. I think that'd be fun.
All right.
Yeah.
No, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And give the viewers just something a little bit different once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. This was fun. Merry Christmas, everybody.
See you guys. Oh, over here.